نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sisters. I hope that you are doing fine and everything is going good in your lives. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you all and keep you healthy and, keep your iman intact as well. And also may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all reach the blessed month of Ramadan as well. Inshallah. So today is going to be lesson number 18th of Qaida, and yes, we will be continuing the same topic that we were doing in the previous 2 days. So the topic that we are covering these days is of rules of Noon Sakin and Tanween. Right? These are four rules that we are covering, and we have already done like two rules, right? The first two rules, and now we will inshallah be doing the remaining two rules for today, inshallah. So first of all, these are the rules of Noon Sakin and Tanween. And also, again, this question that why we are doing these rules is because of the reason that whenever in Quran Noon Sakin or Tanween comes, there are, there are four possibilities how we can, read that the Noon Sakin and Tanween. So, because there are four possibilities, there are four ways we can do that. So, we will have to learn which, which possibility to pick up from those four rules. Okay, so that is why we are learning these because Noon, Sakin, and Tanween, obviously, we see that comes many a times in Quran. So that is why we are doing these four rules. For the first rule, it was mainly concerned with the six letters, right? The letters which were from the throat, the haruf halki, six letters of throat. That first rule was named as izhar halki. The second rule that we covered yesterday was named as idgham. Let's just see the summary as well side by side. So the second rule that we covered was of idgham, and it obviously had a meaning which was to assimilate or to enter one sound into another. And again, this rule was related to the six alphabets of Arabic, which were your Maloon letters, Ya, Ra, Mim, Lam, Waw, Noon. So, this makes up like the 12 alphabets now. Six letters you have to remember for the first rule, then you have to remember six alphabets again for the second rule. And inshallah, we will cover the rule number 3 and 4 for today. Okay. So I hope that you have, kind of just practice the exercise that was given in the Al-Qaida Al-Quraniya book as well for the second rule, because the second rule had further two types as well. The six alphabets were further divided into the 2 and 4 ones. Okay, so we will do the third rule for today, which is Iqlab rule. This is actually a very easy rule, so that is why we are doing the two next rules. Okay, so this rule number 3, the name of the this rule is Iqlab. Iqlab. So this iqlab term, it means to change, turn into, right? You can say replace as well, but to change or turn into is a good term here. So how you can just remember this term is that this term actually comes from the word qalb of Arabic, right? The word qalb of Arabic. Like, let me just write it for you so that you can just, um, okay, sorry. So you can just remember this name if you want to. So this comes from the qalb word of Arabic, which means heart, our heart. Okay, so qalb, the condition or the state of our heart, it changes, right? How it changes, that sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are sad, and sometimes we are feeling um, like the feelings of the heart change very quickly. One moment you are feeling something, and the next moment it completely changes, right? So that is why this this term iqlab comes from the qalb. So you know that the feelings of the heart, right? The state of the heart changes. So that is how this term is there, which means to change or to turn into. So this term actually, for this term, we will see in this rule what actually changes. Okay. So because we are learning the rules of Noon Sakin and Tanween, so obviously after Noon Sakin and Tanween, there will come a certain letter. For now, we know this thing. So the rule says that if after Noon Sakin or Tanween comes letter ba, right? Letter ba. Then we replace the sound of the noon to noon, like the noon sakin, you can say noon sakin, which is simple noon sakin, or the sakin that is hidden in the tanweens here, right? In these three tanweens, we have a noon sakin hidden. So what we will do is that we will change this noon sakin to meme, whilst preserving its ghunna. For now, we know this ghunna term as well. This ghunna means making a nasal sound. So the noon letter has a nasal sound. But what we will do is that in this rule, we will replace this noon with the meme sound, but the ghunna will carry on. So let us, just simply see the examples, and that will inshallah make things easier for you. So example there, first of all, we have examples with noon sakin, right? So in the first example here, we have min ba'di, min ba'di. In this, example, we have a noon sakin here, right? Here we have a noon sakin, and after this noon sakin, we have a letter ba. So for this rule, obviously, let me just turn the slide. For this rule, you will only have to remember one letter, one alphabet of Arabic, which is ba letter. So if that comes, we just change the noon sakin into meme. So here, after noon sakin, we see a ba here. So what we will do is that we will change the noon sakin, right? We will change the noon sakin into the meme, and we will make the sound of meme rather than this noon here. So we say min ba'di. I am not saying min ba'di. I'm not saying this min. Min ba'di. This is not the way, okay? I will be making it mim. Min ba'di. Right? The noon second will change into the meme sound, but also, you can hear that I'm staying here for a bit and making a nasal sound as well. I'm saying min ba'di. Like for 2 seconds, you can say. I'm not just saying min ba'di. Min ba'di. I'm not moving quickly, but I'm saying min ba'di. Okay, let's see another example here in this word. فَأَنبَتْنَا فَأَنبَتْنَا. In this example, again, you see a noon sakin here, right? Noon sakin here. And I told you that sometimes noon sakin might have this sakin symbol, sukoon symbol on top of it, but sometimes you might not find this as well. So here you are not seeing this symbol, but still this is noon sakin because it does not have a fatha dhamma kasra symbol here. So it means that this is vowel-less here. Okay, so here there is noon sakin, and after this noon sakin, you see a letter ba here. So what we will do is that we will change the noon sakin sound here into meme. So rather than saying fa'am an, fa'an, rather than saying fa'an, we say fa right? فَأَنبَتْنَا. And also we kind of stay here and make a nasal sound for 2 seconds. فَأَن. I'm not saying فَأَم. I'm saying فَأَنبَتْنَا. Okay, so the nasal I'm carrying is of noon sakin here. Okay, it will be there. Okay, so these were the two examples with the noon sakin, because we are doing the rules of noon sakin and tanween, right? So let's see the examples with tanween now. So let's see the first example here. لنفس لنسفعا بالناصية لنسفعا بالناصية. Okay, it was like a tongue twister for me, this word. Actually, to read this word, لنسفعا بالناصية. Okay, so in this example, the first word here, لنسفعا, this had this symbol, the tanween of fathatain at the end. Okay, that there was this tanween of fathatain at the end, and after this you see a letter ba in the next word. Right? It does not matter, right? In the first example here as well, we saw the noon sakin in one word and the ba was in the next word. But here in this case, the noon sakin and the ba here are in the same word. So this does not matter. We just, whenever we see a noon sakin or tanween, we instantly see the next letter that comes after it. Okay? It does not matter if they are in the same word or not. So for example, here in this word, the tanween is in the first word, right at the end of the first word. But the ba is coming in the next word. So it does not matter, because there is a ba here, so we will change the sound of the um, tanween, like there are like double fathas here, right? Tanween has two symbols, the double sounds. So we kind of change the one of the tanween into meme, because in this tanween there is a noon sakin hidden. For example, just let me break this tanween for you here. The tanween here is on ayn letter. We can write this like this. The tanween here is on ayn letter. So if we break this tanween, it will be like, okay, an. So both are pronounced in the same way. So you see a noon sakin hidden there. What we will do is that obviously we change the noon sakin into meme in this rule. So we will do the same. So that is why the one fatha on ayn is written here, right? And the second, the slash, you can say, or slanting line of fathatain is changed into, meme here, and we say لنسفعن عن. We are articulating one fatha here, and we are saying the meme sound next. We are not articulating ba. I'm not saying لنسفعن لنفسعن بالناصية. I'm not saying this. لنسفعن بالناصية. Rather, I am saying لنسفعن right? I'm doing this and then saying bin nasiyah. So I'm articulating this ba here because we are not supposed to do anything to ba in all of these examples, right? When ba comes after the tanween or noon sakin, we have nothing to do with the ba here. In all of these examples, min ba, ba'di, we articulated ba, right? Fa'anbatna, we articulated ba here. So same is the case here. What we are doing is we are changing this noon sakin hidden in the tanween into mim. So we say لنسفعا عن. Okay, let me write this for you. Okay, let me just write it. Rather than saying an at the end, an, this ain letter, an sound, we are saying an, an. Okay, لنسفعا بالناصية. Okay, so let's see the next example. يومئذ بجهنم. يومئذ بجهنم. In this example again, at the end of the first word, there was this tanween of kasratain on the letter. I have written it here for you as well. Here as well. So there was this tanween of kasratain on the letter. And after this, in the next word, it starts with letter ba here. Bijahannam. So what we will do is that we will change the tanween again of kasratain, right? There were two of these. We will change the one into meme. So rather than saying then, we will be saying them. We will change the noon into meme. So we say يومئذ, making this gunna, making this nasal sound as well. يومئذ بجهنم. Okay, so in all of these examples, what we have done is after the tanween, after the noon sakin and tanween, we saw the letter ba, and that is why we changed the noon sakin, the simple noon sakin, as well as the noon sakin hidden in the tanween, into meme sound. Okay, so another thing which is, I'm supposed to mention here is, you can see it written at the side as well, at the side notes here, that when we are changing the sound of the noon sakin into the meme two ways to change the sound into meme. So there are two ways to do that. You can just adopt any way you find easy for you. So the first way is that for okay. So what we will do is that we will change the noon sakin into meme. Okay, so we know that to articulate meme letter, what do? We just simply join our two lips together and say meme. And when it has a like a fatha sound, so we say ma. So you see that the meme letter is articulated with the help of our two lips, ma, meme. So what happens is that there are two ways to articulate meme in this rule. The first way is simply to join the lips, just normal thing. Just join the lips together, but very lightly, right? We are changing the sound into meme. This is not like a proper meme, you can say the proper meme letter. This is not that. In this rule, what we do is that what we can do, join the lips but very lightly, the first way to do it. So we say meme ba'di. When I am saying meme here, this meme here, meme, I have joined these together, but very lightly. The lips are joined very lightly. So I'm saying min ba'di. But the second way can be to keep some space between the two lips. Okay, keep some space between the two lips and then you try to say the meme. So which is like technically not possible, you can say. It is possible, but it's just a way to explain you, because I've told you that meme is articulated with the lips. So what you do is that when you are articulating meme here, meme, you can make your lips come very very close, and you can just you can just term the space as just you putting a piece of paper or something like this between your two lips, just that small minute difference, you can say. So when you are articulating here, we say mu ba'di. So there are just two ways. You can just do whatever you find convenient for you. Join the two lips, but very lightly. First way. Second can be just keep some space between the two lips and try to make a nasalized sound and say mu ba'di. Okay, so this is the way we are doing iqlab. We are changing the noon sakin into meme, which is iqlab, which means to change in this rule. Okay, so that was what was related to the third rule that we have covered here. You can see some more examples in front of you. We can do one or two more, and inshallah, you can see this whole exercise from the Al-Qaida Al-Quraniya book as well. So here, the first one is يستنبئونك يستنبئونك. In this first example, there is this one whole word, and you see a noon here, and after noon sakin, there is letter ba. So what you will do is that because there is ba letter after noon sakin here, you will change this noon sakin, because we are doing the rules of noon sakin, into meme sound. So we say yes, down, down. We do not say tam, tan. We say down, yes, down, bi'unaka. Okay, let's just do another example with tanween. Okay. Okay, so this example with tanween. We will do marhaban bihim. Marhaban bihim. In this example, at the end of the first word, there was this tanween of fathatain, and after that, in the next word, at the start, there is this letter ba. So what we will do is that we'll, skip the sound of this noon sakin hidden in the tanween, and we will change it to meme and say marhaban. Rather than saying ban, we make the sound of bam, marhaban bihim, in this way. So we did this first example with the noon sakin. The second one was with the tanween of fathatain. You can just do this exercise on your own as well, inshallah. So what we can just sum up from this is that actually this rule is very easy, I told you. Why? Because for this rule, what you will see is that this rule will already be mentioned in the Quran. So if you're using the copy, which is Arabic Musaf, right, the Arabic copy of the Quran, not the Indo-Pak version or anything of that sort. what happens in that, there is already this small meme written there. Okay, the small meme is already written there. Okay, so the noon sakin with iqlab rule will be mentioned like this. The rather than the noon sakin in the Quran, you will see this small noon written there on the noon. Rather than this sakin symbol, you will just see a little meme written on top of that. And in case of tanween, when we are applying the iqlab rule, how you will see that in the copies of Quran is that for the tanween of fathatain, what happens? There will be one symbol of fatha with a meme replaced with that. For this one, the kasratain, you will have a one single, symbol of kasra, and attached with that there will be a small meme written below. And for the dhamma and tanween, you will see again one dhamma symbol and there will be a meme replaced. You can just see in all of these examples, right? Rather than the noon sakin here, you see noon with meme here. In this example, for example, khabir, this was khabir run at the end. So rather than writing run, we see one with meme written. So that is why obviously you will find this rule. You just what you do in this rule is that as soon as you just see this meme written here, you are obviously supposed to articulate the this meme and not the noon sakin written below. Okay, so you just do this in this rule. Okay, so let's move on to the next rule that we will cover for today, which is rule number 4, and this rule is named as ikhfa. Ikhfa. So ikhfa means hiding something. The complete name of this rule is ikhfa hakiki, right? Ikhfa hakiki. You can simply remember ikhfa for now as well. Ikhfa hakiki. Ikhfa means hiding. So let's see what we hide in this rule now. Because the rules that we're doing right now are of noon sakin and tanween. So the rule says if after noon sakin or tanween comes any letter except the 6 letters of throat, 6 letters of idgham, ba, and alif. Okay, so let's not confuse all of these letters, which is 6 6, and let's not confuse the rule with the numberings here. Just let me make things easier for you by mentioning the rules that we have already covered. So the rule says if after noon sakin or tanween comes any letter except the 6 letters of throat, as soon as I'm mentioning the 6 letters of throat, it means that I'm referring to the first rule of Noon Sakin and Tanween that we have already covered, right? That rule was named as Izhare Halki. Izhar rule, right? Izhare Halki, in which we express the sound of Noon. So what happens in this rule? We, you just exclude these 6 letters. This was rule number 1. So we exclude the 6 letters of rule number 1 and 6 letters of idgham. So idgham was the second rule that we covered, and the 6 letters here are the Yarmaloon letters now. Okay, we just excluded the first 6 letters of rule 1, then 6 letters of the second rule, right? And then this it says that we exclude ba here as well. So ba is just the rule that we have covered now, which was iqlab, right? So in that there was this ba. So this one letter here is related to the third rule that we have covered now. And one just more alphabet that you will have to remember is this alif one. So yes, you have to remember this alif one. So for this rule, in order to apply this rule, you will obviously have to remember the first 3 rules that we have already covered. And obviously the letters that were there in those rules as well. So if we just sum up these letters, which is 6 letters of first rule, then 6 letters of second rule, then the one letter of third rule, and just alif, you have to remember one more as well. So this makes up to like 14 alphabets. Okay, so excluding these 14 letters, we have like 15 letters remaining now from the 29 Arabic alphabets. So the rule says that if after noon sakin or tanween comes any letter from those 15 remaining letters, except excluding these 14 ones. So whenever after noon sakin or tanween comes any letter from these remaining 15 letters, then we will hide the sound of noon sakin, which is noon sakin, also the noon sakin hidden in the tanween as well. Why we will hide? Because the name of the rule is ikhfa rule. Ikhfa means hiding, so that is why we will hide the sound of noon sakin and tanween in this rule whenever we see these 15 letters coming after the noon sakin or tanween. Okay, so let's see the example now as well. What I have done here is that on top of in the first row you can see all of these 15 remaining alphabets. These 15 remaining alphabets are written here, excluding the 6 letters of throat, excluding the 6 letters of the idgham rule, and also excluding the ba letter and alif letter as well. So we have these 15 letters remaining that you can see on top here as well. So let's do the examples now. The first word written here is tum, tum. So in this word here, what I'm doing is that I'm not articulating this like antum, antum, right? I'm not articulating this noon sakin here, but what I'm doing here is I'm hiding this noon sakin here. Why I am hiding this? Because after the noon sakin, the alphabet there is ta letter, the ta letter, which is this one here. After the noon sakin, you see a ta letter, and this ta is from these obviously 15 letters remaining I have written here. So we will hide the sound of the noon sakin. How we will hide is you can just hear me out and you will figure this out as well. So I'm saying tum, tum, rather than saying a proper n, the noon sound, I am just making the nasal of it, right? I'm making the nasal of the noon sakin here. I'm just skipping the sound of it. So I say tum. Okay, so let's see another example with tanween this time, which is laylatan thumma, laylatan thumma. Here at the end of the first word, you saw this tanween of fathatain, right? On ta letter here, which is this round ta written here, tanween of fathatain. After this, you see a letter sa here. Okay, so sa letter here again is from these letters, so that is why we will hide the noon sakin hidden in this tanween and say thumma laylatan thumma. We keep the nasal of that, right? We keep the nasal, we hide the sound of it. So we say laylatan rather than tan. I'm not articulating it like properly like tan. I'm saying thumma. Okay, so this is how we will hide it. Let's see another example with noon sakin again this time, which is mujuin, mujuin. Again, after noon sakin, this time you see a jim letter now, which is this one, right? The jim letter now, so that is why again we will hide the sound and say mujuin rather than min, like the proper min here, the noon sound, we will just keep the nasal and we will not articulate the sound. So we say mew, mew. I'm not saying min, right? I'm saying mew ju'in. Okay, so let's see another example again this time, this with the tanween of kasratain here. Okay, nafsi dha'iqatu, نفس ذائقة. In this example, at the end of the first word here, you saw this tanween of kasratain, and after that, the next letter is this soft zal letter. So this the letter here again, you can see on top of this slide here. This again is from these 15 remaining alphabets. So that is why what we will do is that we will hide the sound of the noon sakin hidden in the tanween, but we will make it nasal as well. So we say nafsiu, siu, right? You can hear I'm not saying nafsin, right? I'm not saying nafsin, but I'm making the N sound nasal and saying nafsin dha'iqah. Also, you can just ask this question as well, that how long we are supposed to make the nasal sound. So it normally is, for 2 counts, you can say, which is like twice the normal harakas that we have covered. So we will make the sound twice as much to the normal harakas. You can just count those two on your fingers as well. So we say nafsin dha'iqah. Okay, so these were the examples. You can, find the whole exercise with all of the examples with noon sakin as well as tanween, right? So this is again all of the like the exercise will be something like this. It is like a quite a long exercise covering, I guess, 1.5 page. So you can just practice all of these ikhfas, hiding the sounds here, in the here as well, in here as well, hiding the sound of the noon. How you do that? Rather than making a proper noon sound, right, you keep the nasal and you hide the sound of noon. So for example here, antum, unsa, zajabilan, jundun, munzirun, muzzalan. Okay, so for obviously for applying this fourth rule of ikhfa, you will have to remember the first three rules and their letters as well. And that is how you will, just if you remember the first three rules on your fingertips, you can easily apply this fourth rule of ikhfa, of hiding. So this was just, related to the four rules that we have covered of Noon Sakin and Tanween, just a little summary, or you can say, summed up points in front of you. Rule one we did was of Izhare Halki, in which what we did with this sound of Noon. Okay, let me just take this pointer and okay. Okay, so we were covering the rules of Noon Sakin and Tanween. I said that we are doing these rules. Why? Because whenever Noon Sakin and Tanween comes in Quran, there are four possibilities, four ways we can, articulate that. So for those four ways, we will have to know which possibility, which way to apply, right? So for that, we have just named these as four rules and given their proper names as well. So the first rule was of izhar. Izhar means to express something, to keep something as it is, right? Or you can say to reveal something. So in this rule, we covered the six alphabets of the throat. And what we express in this rule is that whenever after noon sakin or tanween, there used to be six letters of the throat, we would express the sound of the noon sakin and tanween. We would keep that as it is in the first rule. So for the second rule, that rule was named as idgham rule. Idgham means, to enter something, to assimilate the two sounds. So in idgham rule, we were, assimilating the one sound into another. So the rule said that if after noon sakin or tanween comes, any letter from the six Yarmaloon letters, ya, ra, mim, lam, wa, noon, then what we do is that we assimilate the sound of the noon, the sound of the letter that comes before noon sakin into the sound of the letter that comes after it, right? So we kind of, in this rule, we kind of skip the noon sound from between, in between, and we assimilate the letters that precedes it or that follows it into one another. Okay, so in this idgham rule, we used to do that. And again, you have to remember these six letters, which are ya, ra, mim, lam, waw, noon. For the third rule, you had to remember just one alphabet, that if after noon sakin or tanween comes letter ba, then what we do is that we do iqlab. Iqlab is from the heart, so we change something in this rule. We change the noon sakin and tanween, which is of this rule, into meme letter. We change the noon sakin into meme letter. Okay, so the fourth rule that we have covered right now, for this fourth rule, I said that you have to remember these, not only these, uh, 13 letters of the previous three rules, right? 6 plus 6 plus 1, 13 alphabets plus Aleph as well. So this rule says that if after Noon Sakin or Tanween comes any letter except the above 13 letters, and Aleph, so there are like remaining 15 letters. So whenever they come after Noon Sakin or Tanween, we do ikhfa. And ikhfa means hiding. So we will hide or we will conceal the sound of the noon sakin, and and also the noon sakin hidden in the tanween as well. And how we will hide the sound is that we keep this. Sorry, we okay. So we keep the nasal of the noon sakin and we skip the sound of that noon sakin. Okay, we keep the nasal, which means that we make a ghunna here. We make a nasal sound, and that is how we do the hiding of nun sakin. So that was just a bit of summary. I hope that you find these at least I just what I expect from you guys now is that you just kind of try to remember these letters. If you cannot remember for now, you can just take a piece of paper, and you can just write these in a summarized way as you see in front of you now. You can just write rule 1 and the 6 alphabets that you have to remember, which were hamza, ha, ain, ha, ghain, kha, the 6 letters of throat. You just write these in a piece of paper, and you can just put these in your copies of Quran, and whenever you are reading that, you can just refer back to it, just refer back to it times and again, and inshallah that will help you memorize these letters as well with time, inshallah. So what just for now, what I just expect is that you at least understand what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to convey from these rules, that why we are learning these, and what their names are. At least just a little, you can say just a little bit of these. If you remember it, that will be just more than enough for now. So because I know we are just covering this qaida in kind of a quick way, you can say. We're not doing this practice sessions with you. We're not doing these things. So I do understand that qaida comes mostly with practice, that I say we can do one exercise and you all are supposed to repeat that and all of these things. But because of this limited time that we have here with us, so that is why we are just moving a bit quickly. But I hope that still things are a bit clear to you for now, inshallah. So if you have any query or any question regarding this session or the previous ones, you can